I'm going to be matchmaking every single main card fighter from UFC 326, starting with Brunno Ferreira. He took a bad loss to Gregory Rodrigues in the rematch. He got knocked out cold. And, I think he's going to be outside the rankings, and I think this is a big fight for him. Ikram Aliskerov, he's on a 2-fight win streak. He's coming off a win against Jun Sung Park, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Park, the turtle, the Iron Turtle. So it was a good win. It was a close fight. I think he deserves somebody in the rankings or just outside the rankings, and I think Brunno Ferreira is the perfect fight to prove if he truly is on that level. And I think this would be a sick fight anyways, no matter who gets it done. So, yeah, I think this would be a fun scrap. You could do it in Abu Dhabi. Ferreira's probably going to need some time off, so Abu Dhabi in, October, I could see this fight. Aliskerov is probably going to be back before then, and he's probably going to have a good opponent, so we might not see this fight. There was another matchup I was going to do. Oh, yeah, the loser of... Maybe it wasn't for this one. I think I was going to give him the loser of Gregory Rodrigues... Roman Dolidze and Christian Leroy Duncan. I wouldn't mind him fighting the loser of that. That would also be a fun fight. And it would probably... The timeline would match up a bit better, but I think this would just be a sick fight. No matter who gets it done. So I would like to see him fight Ikram Aliskerov next. Moving on to the guy that beat him, Gregory Rodrigues. I would like to see him fight the loser of Adesanya and Joe Pyfer. Now, it might not happen. It might not make too much sense because if Adesanya loses, I think he might just retire. And if Joe Pyfer loses, I don't see them giving him another shot up the rankings. But I don't see why not. Joe Pyfer just became ranked, and the first fight they gave him is Israel Adesanya. And if he loses that, I don't see them just making him fight unranked guys right after that. So another ranked contender that's not super high ranked would be Gregory Rodrigues. I think if Joe Pyfer loses to Adesanya, that would be a sick fight. Joe Pyfer versus RoboCop would be awesome. And same thing if Adesanya fought RoboCop. I mean, it would be a sick fight on the feet. I think at this point, Adesanya would probably get knocked out by Gregory Rodrigues. But I don't know. It depends. It depends how he looks in that Joe Pyfer fight. If he loses to Pyfer, he'd probably lose to Rodrigues also. But I feel like if he loses to Pyfer, he's just going to retire. So we might not see this fight. I was also going to do RoboCop versus De Ridder. I love that fight. That would be a sick scrap. But I think De Ridder has said he's going to go to light heavyweight. So I gave him a light heavyweight matchup. But if he's staying at middleweight, I think RoboCop versus De Ridder would be a sick fight. Moving on to Michael Johnson getting slimed out by Drew Dober. He looked great in the fight, though. And I think they should just rebook this. I don't know what's going on with Hernandez with that betting thing. I don't know if he's getting cut or if he's just on, a hold right now, taking a break. I don't really know. But whenever he's available to fight, I think Michael Johnson's going to be taking some time off, so that gives Hernandez time to figure out whatever's going on. And hopefully by the end of the year or early next year, we can get this matchup, because I was super excited to see this fight on 324, I believe it was, and it got pulled out the day of the fight, so that really sucked. I hope Hernandez is good. I hope he's still in the UFC. I hope nothing weird or bad's going on over there, and I hope we can rebook this fight, because it would be a sick fight to see. Moving on to Drew Dober, who beat Michael Johnson. Never mind, I guess. Drew Dober, who's coming off a knockout against Michael Johnson. And I say just give him Jalen Turner. I got something I want to see. It's, we got to test it. We got to test it. Drew Dober, I thought, it's been a few years since his powers have been tested. I thought they wouldn't work. He goes out there, slimes out Michael Johnson, who was looking faster than ever. And now I think he should get Jalen Turner. The winner of this can get somebody ranked. Turner's coming off of a win against Edson Barboza after he came out of retirement, so that was a great win. I don't think he's going to be getting somebody ranked after that, but I think Drew Dober's the perfect fight for him. If he can get a win over Drew Dober, it'll put him on a winning streak I think someone ranked next would be perfect for him. Drew Dober, he's also on a winning streak now. If he can get another knockout over Jalen Turner, that would prove that he's ready for another shot up the rankings. And yeah, I think Drew Dober in the rankings would be just really exciting. So I want to see him try and get back up there. I know he lost to Moicano and kind of fell out of the ranked area, but I want to see him bounce back and get a win. And this, I feel like he would win this fight by knockout, and it would be a sick fight. Moving on. Rob Font, featured fight. He has fallen out of the rankings, and I don't think his career's done just because he fell out of the rankings. He could still, fight some people unranked, maybe him versus like Cody Garbrandt, kind of like an unk matchup, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Rob Font retire. I've never really been too excited for a Rob Font fight, and he's just kind of getting up there, so I don't think he's going to have too many fights left for him. There's definitely a few he could do outside the rankings, but other than like Raoni Barcelos or Cody Garbrandt or something like that, I don't really see too many matchups for him, or like too many exciting matchups for him. I feel like he should probably just retire. But moving on to the guy that beat him, Raul Rosas Jr. I had an awesome fight for this. I want him to fight the loser of Sean O'Malley and Ayman Zahabi at the White House. I want him to fight the loser of that fight. But I do think they are a little too high ranked for him. But you never know. The UFC likes to give him really good opportunities. They're probably going to give him a much better fight than this. But I think Vinicius Oliveira versus Raul Rosas Jr. is a sick fight. We just seen Mario Bautista dominate Oliveira and show him absolute levels. So Oliveira definitely needs a step down. And I think Rosas Jr. is that step down. If he can prove that he has got better grappling, if he can deny Rosas Jr.'s takedowns and keep it on the feet, he could definitely win that on the feet. But he really needs to prove his grappling, and Raul Rosas Jr. is definitely the guy to test himself against. And for Rosas Jr., he just needs to keep proving himself against better contenders. I thought he was not on the level of Rob Font. I never thought he would be ranked, honestly. But he's proving me wrong. He's showing how good he is, and this is honestly a winnable fight for him. Vinicius Oliveira looked terrible in the Bautista fight, and I could see him doing to Oliveira exactly what he did to Rob Font, and then getting a big matchup after that. But I was going to originally do the loser of O'Malley versus Zahabi gets Raul Rosas Jr. I still think if O'Malley loses, they're probably just going to give him a Peyton Tabit matchup, like the second O'Malley loses his next fight. And for Zahabi, I don't even know. But I just thought it would be a good step up for Rosas. I know they're going to they're probably going to shoot him up the rankings, someone in the top 10, somebody. I don't even know, though, I could see them getting like a David Martinez matchup or like a Cheeto matchup, but I feel like this is a sick fight. I don't know what else to really do with him. Yeah, I feel like this is a fun fight to test both of them and see really where both contenders are. Both prospects. I like Vinicius Oliveira more, but I do think Raul Rosas Jr. would probably win this with the grappling and then get a big top 10, top 5 matchup next. Moving on to the co-main event, Reinier de Ridder is moving up to light heavyweight. Apparently, I don't know if that's true. I haven't heard him say it. I just seen like one post saying it, and I kind of believed it because he used to fight at light heavyweight at 1. So here he is, There's a Jamal Hill matchup. Jamal Hill isn't really doing anything, so there's that matchup. That would be fun. But I feel like this is probably the goofiest matchup you could make. Someone's getting knocked out in Johnny Walker versus Dominic Reyes, and I have no clue who it is. And I think the winner of that, give him to Ridder. Why not? It would be a fun fight. I think Johnny Walker would be on a winning streak, which is crazy. I think Reyes I think he's coming off the loss to Alberg. So he would be coming off of a bounce-back win if he could get the Johnny Walker win. And I like any of those fights. De Ridder versus Reyes would be a fun fight. De Ridder versus Johnny Walker would be fucking insane. So I'm kind of hoping it's Johnny Walker. That would be a super fun fight. But anyone at light heavyweight's fun right now. I could see a Jamal Hill matchup, like I said. I could see an Ankalaev matchup, but I feel like that's still a little too high up for him. He's coming off of a 2-fight losing streak, one of them to Brendan Allen, and you give him the former champ at light heavyweight. So I feel like that's I don't really see that matchup happening, but I do kind of just like that matchup, Ankalaev versus De Ridder. But I feel like De Ridder should get a couple wins at light heavyweight first. And I think this is the fight to do it. I think this is definitely a winnable fight for him. But it's also a scary matchup. He could get knocked out by any of these guys very easily. So, yeah, it's a risky matchup, but I think it's also a winnable one. Moving on to Caio Borralho. I think he should get the winner of Adesanya and Joe Pyfer. Earlier I said the loser should be fighting RoboCop. And the winner's going to be up there. If it's Adesanya getting a win, it'll be a big bounce back win for him. It'll be a big comeback win. And they're going to give him a big matchup after that. And I think Caio Borralho would be a sick fight. It's the only guy in the top, pretty much anything. It's one of the only guys in the division Adesanya hasn't fought. He's been around for so long. And if Joe Pyfer gets the win, he's instantly going to become a star. He's going to become a top contender. He's going to be needing a big matchup, and this would be a big matchup to prove how good he is. Because if Joe Pyfer wins, the narrative is going to be, Adesanya was just washed, whatever. But if Joe Pyfer can beat Adesanya and then beat Caio Borralho, it'll prove that he's an actual top contender. And we would be talking about Joe Pyfer versus Strickland or Hamzat or Dricus, someone like that. So I think the winner of that should definitely fight Caio. And the winner of that would be in a number one contender fight or just getting a title shot, depending on how the division looks. So yeah, I think it would be a fun fight, great fight, no matter who it is. I kind of want to see Caio versus Joe Pyfer. That would be a really fun fight. But even if it is Adesanya, that would also be a sick fight on the feet. Because Caio kind of gassed out in 2 rounds against De Ridder. So if Adesanya caught him like that, it would be he'd be piecing him up, I feel like. So I don't know. Adesanya is still very underrated. If he can get past Joe Pyfer, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people saying he's back and all this. But yeah, this is the fight to make. Adesanya, I don't know if he's back or not. I don't even know if I'm picking him to beat Joe Pyfer. It's a scary fight, man. But yeah, moving on to the main event. Max Holloway getting the loss. I think he should fight Benoit. He clearly needs to prove his grappling, and Benoit is a step down. But Benoit is still really dangerous. He's calling for the title shot. He's calling for a BMF or Arman Sarukian. He wants something big. And I don't think he's there yet. But I think he's just there, just about. I think the Max Holloway matchup is big. It's huge for him. It's definitely big for him. And no matter what they put this on, if it's a fight night main event or if it's on a pay-per-view, people would be tuning in, and he would become a star if he can get the win over Max Holloway. And it's definitely a matchup that looks good for him after that after the Oliveira fight. He probably looked at that and was like, hell yeah, give me the Holloway fight. I can take him down and do that. So Benoit probably really wants this fight, and if he could beat Max Holloway, he would easily be in the top he would easily be in the top 3 conversation. And yeah, if he gets the win over Holloway, it's the only 2 things next for him would be a BMF or a title shot. So that's the only thing holding him back from being a top contender is the Max Holloway fight. I think this would prove a lot. And if Max Holloway can get the win, if he can get in there, stuff some takedowns, and beat up Benoit, everyone would be saying that he's improved again and he's back again. So I think this is the fight to make. I think it's a sick fight. I don't care when. You could do it on International Fight Week. You could do it in Abu Dhabi. You could do it on Madison Square Garden. It's going to be probably reserved for one of those big cards. Or it might just be a random fight night. Who knows? But I think it's going to be reserved for a big card. Holloway didn't take too much damage, so he's probably going to be looking to come back sometime this year. Benoit definitely looking to come back soon. He just dominated Dan Hooker, so I think this is a sick fight. And for Charles Oliveira, are you fucking kidding me? And finally, we got Charles Oliveira winning the main event and the BMF. The only fight left for him is a rematch with Arman. Their first fight was almost 2 years ago now. By the time they do fight, it'll be over 2 years. And it was a super close fight. It should have been 5 rounds. Everyone said it should have been 5 rounds. And it wasn't. It was a split decision. So make a rematch for the BMF. Maybe not for the BMF. Who really cares anymore? But yeah, make a 5-round rematch. And the winner fights for the belt. No Nothing like, we can't keep holding Armin away from the belt just because he's an ass. I know he's not good for this, like, for the UFC, I guess, but he is the best lightweight, and in a rematch, I think he would probably still beat Charles. I do love Charles, and I want him to win. He was a really close... Charles could win. Charles definitely could win that fight. He's looked a lot better. But I don't know. I really want to see Armin versus Ilya. I do not want to see Charles versus Ilya again. So, but you never know. Charles could win this fight. I think it's a sick fight. And you could do it whenever. You could do it whenever. International Fight Week, like I was saying for, I think the Holloway fight, you could literally do it whenever. International Fight Week, Abu Dhabi. The Hamzat fight versus Strickland just got announced. I think that would probably be too fast to put them on the card, but I know Armin and Hamzat are friends, so it would be nice to have them fight on the same card, but I think it's a little too soon for Armin versus Oliveira to fight on that card, and Hamzat probably won't fight again this year after that, so I don't know if we're going to see Armin and Hamzat fight on the same card, but we need to see this fight sometime this year, 5 rounds. The winner fights for the belt. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what matchups you want to see in the UFC. These are the ones I would make. These are the ones I want to see. And yeah, I will see you guys next month for UFC 327.